It's been a crazy week in the world of women's Welsh rugby, and we're here to break down all of it. Welcome back to the Women's Rugby Treehouse. Let's start the show.
You're listening to RAP, a Welsh Women's Rugby Appreciation Podcast.
I am joined by the usual cast of captains and doctors, Harley, Julia, and Sean. Good evening, everybody.
Hello.
Evening.
The most cancelable podcast on the Rat family is still going. Darn it. We tried so hard.
Affirmative
But
action, baby.
But we did think of a new name, Women's Rugby Treehouse, which is more memorable than the other name, which we never really knew what it was, but we've got it now. So congratulations, everybody. We'll be updating all the logos at some point, probably. But there's that much to talk about that okay, so normally we plan on doing one of these a month, right? And like the first 29 days of that month goes by and we think, we just about have enough to scrape a show together. And then on the 30th day, something mental happens. And then we're like, okay, we actually have slightly too much to talk about. We need to be careful not to talk about it forever and ever and ever. But the thing that we are going to talk about today first is cyberbullying works. Wales have appointed a new head coach.
We did, folks, we did it.
Yes.
This podcast did it.
Yeah, the WRU definitely forgot until we reminded them.
And we are, by the way. And we'd like to say to our fans, you're welcome. You're welcome, Belinda.
I was getting a bit fed up of tweeting about it and replying to every Instagram post to the Welsh Rugby Union. We've got to coach yet. We've got to coach yet. We've got to coach yet.
I was starting to get really uncomfortable with just yelling at people that I like and respect, but we did it.
To be honest, it was very hurtful, and I told you I don't work for the WRU, even though I'm in Cardiff.
We need to stress, especially for this episode, we deeply and truly do not work for WRU.
Yeah, no matter how much I hang around in CF10 wearing a dry robe, you still haven't taken me on yet.
We keep trying. We've been,
It can spot a Turk a mile away, Hugh. There's plenty of them around nearby.
We had him wear all sorts of wigs. It didn't work.
All right, okay, right. Let's talk about it then. So, Sean Lynn, or Sean Lynn, as I'm calling him, has been appointed as Wales head coach. How exciting is this? Like, it's fair to say that this is the thing that everybody hoped but didn't think would happen.
Absolutely.
Right.
When they announced the news, I was genuinely, oh my God. And I kind of didn't know what to feel for a while, because it was sort of like, is this true? It is true. But no, this is like a good decision. This is like really good, happy, like positive news. And it feels weird.
The most surprised I've ever seen Sean.
Probably not the most ever, but yeah.
No, not ever. Our friendship goes deep. No, not ever, but definitely this. Speaking of which, we're about to get canceled by Gloucester Hartbury. No, we're super stoked. We genuinely didn't think this could happen. This was everybody's wish list.
I genuinely think he is the best person right now for the job, given the time frame that we have as well, where we don't have very long before the Six Nations starts, and we don't have very long before the World Cup. But he already knows so many of the players. And he has a proven track record with women's rugby, which were massive ticks, weren't they, on what we kind of wanted?
It's a massive coup, in my opinion, to get the back-to-back PWR winning coach. Like I said, everybody said he was the best candidate. If he'd have passed over this Wales job, that he would have gotten another crack at international rugby at some point. He was a good enough coach to coach pretty much anybody. But his first words out of his mouth in the job are, "I'm Welsh and I'm coming home." Great start, Sean. Couldn't have hoped for a better start.
I mean, you really nailed it. But that really speaks to it, I think. And another thing that spoke to, Sean and I were kind of keeping up on it, and other friends in our chat as well. We counted, I think, most of the Welsh girls who post a lot on socials. I think most of them, even the ones who were Bears or at Quins, posted about how excited they were. And I have seen big appointments before that didn't get that didn't get this kind of reception.
Yeah, that's
Especially,
no, it just speaks volumes, I think, doesn't it?
yeah, and I mean, especially I would assume that it is kind of a little bit hard, particularly if you are playing at Bears, to be like, man, I'm stoked to have that coach, but it's undeniable, and that was what the data showed.
And his press release was just, sorry, to go back to the press release, was just spot on to me. Like
he
everything
knew
that he said,
what everyone wanted.
He said all the right things. He was saying all the right things, I thought, about
he knew all
that coming
all
home stuff. Obviously, I mean, that seems quite obvious, but it was what he was saying about the players, about what the kind of, he wants to build that sense of family, and that really kind of does highlight to me that's exactly what looked like was missing in the last couple of years, where they just didn't seem like they were, I don't know, they just didn't seem right, didn't they? And we know what there was stuff going on, obviously.
And Snowy put out, Eleanor Snowsell put out almost an immediate reaction, so that's good news. Also, a lot of the reactions, we saw Squidge put out a video like 15 minutes after the announcement. It's great that it means that this was something planned and it wasn't something last minute, like, I don't know, negotiating contracts. That's great. It means that people are thinking about it. It means that somebody's doing work. That's fantastic. But as Snowy said in that release, there are a few key things that he has that were on the wish list, and he has them really well. That's the emotional intelligence, and it's great also that he has a lot of experience in women's rugby, and it doesn't hurt at all that he coaches literally half the national team. Doesn't hurt, but there are a lot of things that we would put on a list if we could design a perfect coach that he has, which is
absolutely. The whole debate was about how, some people say, oh, we need someone who's going to bring a feel-good factor, someone's going to be emotionally intelligent. Some people saying it needs to be someone who's coached women's rugby. Some people saying it needs to be someone who's got a track record. And Sean Lynn is literally all of those things. Like he ticks every box as far as I'm concerned.
It also doesn't hurt that like Wales loves him. Like WRU could use a little positive.
Yeah.
Oh,
absolutely.
hell yeah.
Yeah, they could use a little goodness.
I just want to be cautious though, because we can't just expect Uncle Sean Lynn to come in and just be like, wave a magic wand and we're going to be beating England. And do you know what I mean? Like, it's not, we also have to be a bit realistic. But I am cautiously optimistic with this because I do think that he is the best person. We don't have a magic, we don't have a time machine. We can't see what's going to happen in the future. But I do think for once, the WRU have made a really good decision to put us in in a better position to advance and go forward.
So what do we think? What do we think we can expect from a Sean Lynn coached Wales then? What do we think that's going to look like?
Question. That's a good question.
Very good question.
Yeah, and it's one that we've kind of been bouncing around between like various fan chats and threads and groups and such. I mean, my gut reaction is like, I'd like somebody who doesn't treat them like shit, which we already know he won't. He knows women's rugby, which is great. It is fair to be cautious though. He's never coached at a national level. I'm sure he can. That's not the question, but it's something new. It's probably intimidating.
It's different. It's different, isn't it? Like Gloucester have a lot of resources, and in club rugby,
WRU doesn't have.
In club rugby, you can buy players in. You can't do that in international rugby. There's obviously that aspect. I definitely agree with you, Julia. I think he will be able to bring that kind of sense of unity back to where it should be, so that they want to be proud to playing for Wales. They want to be proud to playing for each other, and they want to go out with energy, and they want to be the best that they can. And I don't feel like that they could do that the last couple of years, and I think that Sean will help that.
That was what the girls kind of said too, honestly. Like that, I don't even think that that's too much guessing. I don't think that or I guess projecting. I don't think we're projecting that much. I think we're taking from clues that they gave, how much they could say. And honestly, that's another thing that I think that he could make better. I think that the communication within the team and the communication within the union could end up better.
I hope it does.
If there's one thing you can gain from how he coached at Gloucester and what you've heard, we're really lucky that we happen to have Mo Hunt, who has spoken at length about Sean Lynn as a coach, has spoken at length about how Gloucester Hartbury works, what doesn't. a good insight into it. We know about how they're developing. Those are all things that you worry about as a Welsh rugby fan.
Mm.
And even just that much, I'm a little bit optimistic. Even the step up from not, I keep being pithy about it, but like the contract negotiations were really bad. The way that all of that went shouldn't have happened that way. And one really easy way to fix it is just if somebody talks to you like a person, and doesn't, talk down to you, doesn't tell you you don't know what you're talking about, doesn't tell you to shut up and play. Even that, I think, will be a change.
I would like us to sort of have a obvious game plan. I mean, I don't think we've actually looked like we've had much of a game plan or a plan B when Cecilia doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like,
so what's that? What's that going to look like then? So what does Sean Lynn rugby look like?
Well, I think first of all there's three separate questions. I think pack wise, I think there's not really a huge amount. We could tidy up the set piece. Like that's fine. But I think most wise, our problem hasn't been with our forwards. The problem's been with our backs. Now, if we want to look at the Gloucester Hartpury attack plan, then we've got to ask about three people. First of all, how do we get enough out of Kira Bevan that she can replace that Mohan role, or how we can transfer enough out onto Flaky George? Which brings me on to
luckily
George,
he knows.
Thankfully,
luckily
was doing
he
some
knows how
kicking a goal.
Luckily, he knows how to coach Flaky George. That's huge.
But then obviously Emma Singh then at 15. You don't really have anyone like Emma Singh unless she's suddenly.
Oh, I thought you were saying. I thought you were saying you finally found her Welsh nan.
I haven't yet. I've
been praying for that every night.
I was gonna say I just paid for my next year's subscription to Ancestry.com. I'm still searching.
Yeah, so I said I think we've got to work out, so some of the things Emma Singh brings, like the reliable goal kicking, solid at the back. I think Jazz can do a lot of that, plus her own unique brand of excitedness. But in terms of goal kicking, it's been quite nice seeing Clakey do a bit more goal kicking and being decent. Then the big one for me is 12, Tatiana Hurd. That's a very hard.
You can't reproduce Tatiana Hurd.
She is basically Sione Tuipulotu before Sione Tuipulotu.
Yes.
Come at me, Scotland men fans. She's a big physical threat, has fantastic underrated kicking.
She's brilliant.
Decent. Yeah. She is that.
Her rugby IQ is also off the chart. And that is something that I also really rate Sean for, is that a lot of his players, and I don't know if it's from his coaching or what it is about Gloucester or whatever, but the players have really high rugby IQs. And it seems like when you go there, you raise yours.
Well,
I think you're right, Harley. It's 12 for me is the key. I think we can just about cover 13. I think 12 is
and what I was thinking, actually, I just wanted to touch on goal kicking really quick before we go. What I've really been like rubbing my hands together like a cartoon villain. Imagine Kira Bevan holistically coached by Sean Lynn. Because the one thing that we've complained about a lot regarding the goal kicking is when Kira is at Bears, she kicks shit you've never seen before. When she goes to Wales, and I'm guessing because there was a lot of stuff going on, and she is an emotional player. She play when she's feeling good, she plays really good. And I'm sure some of those matches wasn't feeling great. I'm thinking about the level to which she can rise to, and I'm really not worried about goal kicking anymore. Not if we can do something with her. Yeah. But anyway, sorry.
Well, my wider point was more like, how does he take those three key players in that Gloucester battle and divide it amongst what we have so that we get some transition? The other thing is, it should be I'm back in Wales now in a minute, because obviously he's going to finish the campaign with Gloucester before coming through, which means he potentially could only have a week prep. I don't know if that means he's going to be doing like a day a week, or he's going to take time off Gloucester duties to.
I do wonder.
I mean, you can talk Wales.
Yeah, we were wondering about that
anyway.
Well, the concern is it really going to be 6 days? Because that's the worst case scenario, is that it ends up 6 days between the two. Because
it's not long.
There's a very, very, very high chance that Gloucester Hartpury is.
There is a level of cohesion though there with Wales, because it's not like it's like who's he going to pick? We know who's going to get picked.
That's
so
for better or for worse.
Yeah, it's just a case of
no depth.
There's a choice of one or two players. So if he's smart, which he is, he'll pick all the Gloucester players, because that just gives himself a head start. And I think he's just got to be honest and say, look, got a short amount of time. So I know the Gloucester players, so we're going to start with the Gloucester Hartpury players. And then wherever there is not a Hartpury player available to fill a position, um, insert a Quins or a Bears player. And like Jazz Joyce is going to play, that's easy. It'd be interesting to see, because I can't see him not picking Clayton George, even though Powell has been so good for Quins.
He
And he's
mentioned
name-checked
Powell in
her.
the press. He has name checked. Yes, he specifically picked Kaylee Powell out for being particularly a player who's been playing really well this year. I'm wondering if he's going to play Clakey at 12.
And I was going to say, you know what, R.A.P. Yoan, but even he was saying we will beat France with Kaylee Powell at 10. I still back that. Especially how she's playing at Quins. Something has happened. I think maybe something great is happening at Quins in general. That's for another conversation. But they're doing something right, and there's a lot of confidence there.
But Lakey's been playing really well since she came. I know she's a different kind of player.
Sure.
Like they are very different players, but she's been playing really well since she came back from injury.
Absolutely.
She's been smashing it.
But also, as we've talked about off the air, like she's also a very good 12. There's no question. I mean, a lot of 10s can also play other stuff. Her other strength is 12. And God knows we need it.
I thought she had played a 12 before and it didn't go well.
Oh, she has. I think
I can't remember now.
I mean, in my opinion, when she was at 12, she was good. I think personally, physically, she's better at 12 for me. I understand that she has a great boot, but there's no rules that you can't kick from the center. Of course you can.
No, in fact, it gives us an extra.
It gives you
us an extra dimension if she can take this receiver.
But especially considering that our biggest opponents will be looking at Wales and they'll be thinking what they know from last time they played, which was back when our kicking was shit. It was.
We were really predictable. I mean,
if you can up even just the kicking game, we could. I mean, that could be the difference between losing and beating.
Or the kick chase game, please. Like
kick
when
chase.
someone kicks a ball, run after it.
Emphasize the second part.
Kick chase.
Wales did a lot
you're
of
right.
kick.
You're right. That is it.
But I was thinking of another option. You're talking about Lakey to 12. I mean, there's nothing to say because we've all said about how Kaylee Powell potentially could be our best 10 and best 15.
Yes.
There's nothing to say you can't push her to 15 Jazz to the wing, and then you've got a lot of pace on the wing, which is something we've been like. I mean, to say that, I mean, try to get in players like
Nell exactly what I thought.
Nell Metcalf in there and Noman, who have been playing very, very well as well.
Yeah, Lisa Noman's playing well as well.
She is, yeah.
And they are, and
I think Powell will play at 15.
Powell at 15?
Yeah, I think he might put her at 15.
He looks to me like he likes the playmaker at 10. There's a couple of different thoughts to the dual playmaker. I think he looks like a 10-15 sort of coach.
I would want Courtney Keat at 15, but that's just because I am a Bears fan and I absolutely.
She's playing well again as well. Courtney Keat. We do have a few more options now, I think.
That's what I'm saying. I think overall, I think there's very low chance that Jazz will.
This is the thing, you know, watching more PWR now than I have done in the past. You would not think that Wales could be so crap with the quality of players available.
Absolutely.
It's not like baffled. It's not like in the PWR you go, oh my God, the English players are amazing and all these foreigners are rubbish. No, they're just as good, if not better. So
absolutely.
So that's kind of the thing. So I think Kira Bevan's a really interesting one because obviously a very different player to Mo Hunt, and like the game between Bristol and Gloucester, Mo Hunt basically was like, I'm going to win this game, and just
incredible. She was just. Oh.
She had a monster game. Of note though, they are respecters of each other and also people who talk a lot. I mean, they're scrum halves. They're never going to complement each other, but they've both come very close.
I wonder if Meg Davis might start seeing a bit more game time. Obviously, being Gloucester, obviously being in and around Mo Hunt, you know, doesn't hurt.
Well, and Sean Jones is training with Mo Hunt,
and also Sean Jones,
Yeah, so, Sean Jones, who I think is actually really interesting, bouncing between 9 and 10. I don't know why it didn't occur. I don't know why it didn't occur to me until I saw it, but she could play 10. She's great.
So very exciting. We'll do more selection chat when we get closer to the Six Nations, but it is, we're not used to these good vibes around here.
Right? Or having multiple people to talk about for one position.
Yeah, exactly.
Except 6, 7, or 8. That's the only time we've ever had it.
No, yeah, there
Speaking
is,
of,
'cause
Kate
you got
Williams is
you got
having a hell
Kate
of a season.
Williams,
Yep.
Oh,
Alicia.
no. I was saying 6, 7, and 8 are the only positions we've often had.
We've got depth
Oh, I
in.
see,
Yeah,
okay.
where we were like, oh, we've got, yeah.
I know, but it just made me want to bring up the fact that Kate Williams is having a hell of a season.
She is. It's fantastic. Honestly,
Yeah, she
all
is.
of our back row is respectively on their separate teams having stormer seasons. So is Alicia Joyce Butchers. So is Bethan Lewis. Fantastic. And again, there is a good chance that most of our back row will be playing in the PWR final. That's gonna be.
Which, if you think about it in itself, that alone is such an
It's
interesting
big.
fact to me.
It was the same last year.
And
I know, and it's
Yep.
just so, it's just so like, why are Wales struggling? You know, well, we know now.
well, an outside viewer without knowing that much about WRU and their struggles and the women's teams especially, that is the first thing you would ask is, isn't half the team on the championship team? Well,
Okay,
we have
let's
the
talk.
championship coach now. So
Let's talk about the other major appointment in Welsh rugby. One that we weren't expecting.
Yeah,
Belinda
this was a
Moore
bit
has
of a
Not at
been.
curveball.
Yeah,
Not at
Belinda
all
Moore has been
expected.
appointed. Now, it's the BBC have called it head of women's rugby. I'm not clear on what the actual job title is. It
also,
doesn't seem to be
interestingly,
clearly stated anywhere.
I was gonna say, interestingly, WRU hasn't told us either. I've looked.
Was it
'cause I've
not
been
on the
trying-
WRU site?
No,
Oh, okay, fair
not
enough.
that I could
How
find.
silly of me to think that, hey?
I know. No, that was the dramatic answer I wanted to give, because why wouldn't you shout this from the rooftops? But WRU isn't gonna get
She's
better
head of
overnight.
women's. She's
Head of women.
Women's things. She's head of the
in charge
women.
of
Wait,
The
women.
women's things.
wait. And I would like to tell the viewers the best job title creator is actually on this podcast. It's Hugh Griffin. And Hugh, what should her title be?
I'm trying to remember the joke that I
you
made.
gave us an amazing title.
Is it girl boss?
It's girl boss. She's girl boss of women's rugby.
I'd just like to point out, so on the same podcast where we were saying about how great Sean Lynn sounded, which, to be fair, her interviewers, when they were both interviewed, she basically admitted, yeah, they haven't actually given me a full brief yet.
Nope.
And I've still got to thrash that out with
Yeah.
IBTN, which I'd like
Nope.
to make a point on that with both of them. It's the first time in a long time I've listened to two people from the WRU talk, and I've actually
On
believed what they
purpose.
said. And it
Yeah.
felt like, they meant
felt
they meant
weird.
what they were saying.
Yes,
not
it
just
felt
lip
weird.
service.
Yes, I thought exactly the same. I didn't realize it now until you mentioned it. That's exactly
Oh
why
my
I
God,
felt weird.
I was gonna say I didn't notice.
Yeah.
That's
exactly
how
what
it
is.
felt. Well, for me, what struck me was that, like, this felt really competent, which was the big difference for me, is it didn't feel bumbling.
So tell people Belinda Moore's background then.
Shall
Well,
I
I
or shall
think-
you, Sean?
Pardon?
Shall I or shall you?
Well, I think she's got a pretty good CV, isn't she? I think she was head of team looking after the athletes for the 2012 Olympics for Team GB. I can't remember what the title was, but it was basically, I think it was just looking at, same kind of role, only for the Team GB. She's been a producer at the BBC. They obviously only employ really amazing people.
Sure.
Obviously.
Obs.
And impartial,
Um,
very impartial people.
And by the way, humble.
Yeah. And obviously she was with the PWR prior to this. I think she left just before the season started, and it was a bit weird that she just suddenly left. And she said it was because she was so burnt out from essentially joining a startup with the PWR. I think she was there 2 years.
Yes. So she was in charge, just like the most recent, she was in charge of the transition between what was the Allianz Premier 15s to what is now PWR Premiership Women's Rugby. I don't know how much of the transition she had to do with, but she was the figurehead CEO in charge of all of it. And we saw later in her interview for what was just announced, that at least by her telling, she was instrumental in a lot of it. It was kind of hybrid startup and running a rugby competition. I mean, that's what it was.
It sounds like they were literally they had to just start from complete scratch. I was quite surprised about that, actually.
Which I was going to say, which we had no idea. Which may actually be a testament to her, because to us it seemed kind of seamless. We don't know how administrators of each club felt. Obviously, right after PWR was founded. 2 clubs folded, so we don't know what all happened, how much she did or didn't have to do with things. But we do know that she spearheaded this transition, and she spearheaded a few major campaigns that I think, while we have quibbles about them, it sucks that women have to have other jobs, and they made Power differently, which is about how the women have to have other jobs. That sucks. But it was still a good initiative. It got people interested. I think all of that speaks to that she knows women's rugby, or at least knows how to I was going to say build an audience. The audience is already there, especially the audience for Welsh rugby is already there. I am optimistic that she could perhaps capture that audience and make them feel less terrible, which would be a coup for Welsh rugby.
I think for me, it was more she's got experience at a very high level of managing professional sports. Because I think she's had roles with like sport agencies as well, and having that, because I think that's often what we've lacked with the WRU and rugby. We don't, it's personnel who've got that proven experience with professional sports.
And as a direct answer to what just literally happened to the women.
Yeah.
I think
yes.
Whether they intended to or not, if I were one of the women on the team and I saw that hiring, and I was perhaps also a PWR player and was happy with that as well, I would look at that and be like, oh, WRU finally cares. Even if it's true or not, we don't know. Time will tell.
She's only on a 9-month contract, which is the interesting thing about this. Now, I think that's a good thing and a bad thing, in my opinion. It's a bad thing of like, it does just smack of the WRU going, we have to appoint someone, really? Yeah. Okay. But it also means that she has nothing to lose in the role. So she can go in there and kind of say what she wants. And it does come across that she has gone into this with her eyes open. And she is expecting some difficulties, and she's okay with that.
Yes.
And her husband tweeted that he told her that she didn't want to go into this because it's a nightmare. So it's
a nightmare.
She's fully briefed, shall we say.
I think there's also something to be said, and it just so happened that this is the case because of her last job, but it doesn't suck at all that the man that she's going to be working with is a man she's been working with for 2 years. She probably knows Sean Lynn, at least a bit, at least knows him in a professional capacity. If she was really good at running PWR, she probably knows even more. But either way, even just that little bit of experience, I mean, it really is something that we, at some points during the tumult, we kind of joked about it, but it was just like, do any of these people even talk?
I know. I was a little bit disappointed.
Talk.
Yeah, exactly. I was a little bit disappointed when they said it was only for 9 months. I got to say, right? I felt a little sort of, well,
is there some kind of
in 9 months?
Pregnancy joke to be made here?
Yeah, they want her to deliver the World Cup. What I do wonder though, even whether or not they meant to do this, my thing is, I hate Abby Tierney. So my thing is, what if she took her job?
Yeah.
No, she won't do that. No, I can't see that. What, CEO of the WRU? She'd be mad.
Oh no, not somebody who knows rugby. Oh no.
You get rid of those wasteful regions.
No. Oh,
more
that's
money
great.
More money into women's rugby.
What Brian Moore will tell her to do is what you should do is get involved with the regions.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't like how happy you've been recently. You know what you should do? Talk to the regions.
Yeah.
Advice number 1, Belinda: don't stand in a door looking out at a dirty child. Because the other one did that, and we
memed the shit out of it.
And every time I look at that photo, it gets worse.
If a Victorian era Oliver Twist ass kid comes up to you, do not let them take a picture.
Don't let them take a picture of me.
When the ghost of Christmas rugby past comes.
Please, ma'am. And she's like, no, I can't.
I've seen that picture like 100 times, and every time I'm seeing it, I'm like, this is so much worse than I remembered it.
Oh, it sucks. We didn't queue it up because we didn't know we'd be making this joke. But I was like,
I
can you
know.
flash the screen to this picture? Because
If
I bet a lot of people
Tiny
don't know
Tim
what we're
comes up
talking
to you,
about.
throw some mud on your face and get on your knees quick to make you look humble. Because that's the only way you can not look terrible. Are you trying to find the picture? No, you.
No, I'll see if I can find it later
You
while we're
said-
talking about something else. But
We can make it the thumbnail.
Oh, that should be the thumbnail.
no, it has no Ilona Mars in the
No,
thumbnail.
I was gonna
Just get
say
used to it,
the
okay?
thumbnail has to be Ilona Mar.
Well, it may be a bit Ilona Ma asking for the money.
Oh my god, it should be Ilona Mar asking
Please,
Belinda Moore
can I
for
have more?
money.
Can I have more likes?
Belinda's a big fan of Ilona Mars. We
Didn't
know
say
that
that.
from socials.
We do know that, but also we have to have Sean doing more American accent. It's fine. We'll do it later. I'm just gonna. I'll
The twist
WhatsApp
wasn't
her
enough.
later. I'm just gonna make her do. I'm gonna make her have more beer, and then I'll make her do American. She
Okay.
has done the same to me. She's had me drink and then try to do Welsh.
So that's Belinda Moore, and she's also notable from being married to the only Labour voter with a weekly column in the Daily Telegraph. So moving on then to the Celtic Challenge, actual rugby. God, we never actually talk about rugby on this podcast. We always talk about shenanigans.
There's
These
a
are
lot of
all rugby
shenanigans to
related.
talk about, to be fair.
And also, then we corner the market #1 in rugby podcast that isn't about rugby. So
No, Blood and Mud have got that, but so
You have to pay to get the rugby on Blood and Mud.
I know.
no.
So, Celtic Challenge then.
Woohoo!
So yay, Welsh teams.
Do you mean woohoo?
So, well, some of them are woohoo. So here's the standings on the screen for the YouTube viewers. So 6-team tournament, as we know, this is year 3 of the Celtic Challenge technically, but it's changed a lot each year. But in this year, double round robin, proper league format. And the standings after 4/3 rounds played are as follows. Wolfhounds are top, the reigning champions. They lead Clover. They're actually tied on points, the 2 Irish teams at the top. We then have Gwalia Lightning are in 3rd with 3 wins from 4 games. Then Edinburgh are 4th with 3 wins. Sorry, 3 games played, 2 wins. So they can go above Gwalia if they win the next game in hand with a bonus point, which Edinburgh are good. So you would suspect that might happen.
Well, their game in hand is their reverse fixture against Glasgow, so that's probably a 5-point. No offense, Glasgow.
Yeah. Then in 5th we have Brisbane Thunder, and in 6th there is Glasgow. So where do we start then? Let's talk about Gwalia first. Obviously, Sean, you're the fan. You've been a regular frequenter of Ystad Mynach.
I know.
And
it's my new home, Ystad Mynach now. And I went to the Parky Cartlets.
Parkycarlets.com
Parky
stadium.
Cartlets. Yeah, so I think the standard of the Celtic Challenge is better this year. I do think it's improved this year. The first games again, the Lightning and Thunder derbies, they had the first 2 games. They played one at home and then away each other. Both interesting matches to me. The first match, Gwalia pretty much thumped Lightning. Thunder, sorry. The second game in Parky Cartlets was a lot closer and really, really physical. And it's interesting to me because I do think that we have a lot of good players coming through, but I also think that the Irish teams, and particularly Edinburgh, look quite a lot better right now. And I know it's a bit hard to really compare because how much are we comparing like for like here? I think looking at the lineups, the squads of Gwalia, they seem to have a bit more experience there. They have a little bit more, I don't know. The results so far haven't actually surprised me given the squad. And you look at Thunder, and I think that they just seem to have a lot more inexperience, particularly in the pack, which I think is killing them a little bit. Yeah, right now it does look like Gwalia have probably played their easiest game so far. I can't go into. I mean, I know they beat Glasgow at home, but I mean, it was a really good game. It was a really, really good game to watch. I really, really enjoyed it, but we only just won. And I think going away might be difficult. Glasgow do have a couple of decent players. So yeah, I'm not overly optimistic that Wally will win any more games. And certainly Thunder look like they are going to struggle basically.
Yeah, sticking with Gwalia for the time being, Harley. Obviously, you're a fan of that club. What have you made of their season so far? Who are the standout players for you?
I think Gwen Hopkins, the obvious headline, which a bit boring, but she is. She's just been head and shoulders above the rest. When
It's still
Charles
worth
talk
saying.
about your head, although she's a very relatively inexperienced Welsh international, you can tell instantly she's international colour.
It's still worth saying when someone is really consistent, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like it showed more when she wasn't playing. How the form dripped and the pack seemed to lose a little bit of its bite that they certainly had against Brithon.
And a few other players have actually spoken in various little snippets and interviews that apparently she is an exceptional leader. Apparently she is really a leader figure.
Yeah.
Who thought a great captain from the back row? What a revolutionary idea.
In Wales? I don't think so.
Hughes the 10, I think, probably is also been an absolute standout. Her goal kicking has been excellent in what is effectively effectively a
nobody can
superpower in the
pronounce her
women's game at the
name,
moment.
but nobody can pronounce her name, but everybody sees it when she kicks.
Yeah, she's been great.
Outside
she's
that,
been really
I think
good.
the back line does struggle a little bit. Like there's it's certainly, I'd say that's probably where Bristol have this. Like as quite often with Welsh rugby, if you fuse two teams together,
I think
if you fuse two teams together, you could probably get a very, very good team out of it. But
I think Kath Richards has done quite well at the on the wing, and I think she's been picked for the Team GB sevens, isn't she?
She's in Perth. Oh
yeah.
It's gonna be
which I'm quite pleased to see, because I do think she hasn't, she's not been creating headlines, but she's been working really hard. One of those wingers who's been working hard.
I feel like she deserved to. Yeah, I feel like she deserved to break out before she did. So I'm really glad that she is. I'm thrilled, and we don't need to go off on this tangent, but I am thrilled now that Giselle Mather is coaching GB sevens. It makes me so much more confident about the Welsh girls that are there. I know Jazz is probably thrilled. Kaylee, if she goes back.
No, they're staying with 50s for a while.
No, don't.
Keep them at a 50.
It's World Cup. They're not going anywhere.
I think for Gwalia, a couple of other players who is Maisie Davis. She's been outstanding. She's been really, really good. I really love her attitude as well. She just gives no shit. So it's just amazing. Allow
Reardon as well.
Yeah, Allow and Molly Reardon. Yeah, I think is starting. I
mean, I'm a 2. Reardon, I've just been thrilled every time she's on. I'm watching her.
I mean, in that second half against Glasgow, Allow was just. I don't know what they told her at half time. She was just a woman possessed. It was amazing. And also Bryony King. Yeah. Bryony King had a really good game. She's so physical.
Yes,
and I would like the body on the line.
Is that she plays with no regard for her body, which isn't always great in the long run, but in the short run, and if you're only looking at results, like she.
Yes. Whilst we're on this point, can I make a formal apology, as I made a massive boo-boo on Cardiff Central a couple of weeks ago? So when reviewing the Gwalia Glasgow game on Cardiff Central podcast, I said that Bethan Lewis was having a fantastic game despite some issues. When obviously, of course, I meant Bryony King. I'd like to apologise on behalf of both players for any mixed associations. And that was a podcast where I basically had a mental breakdown slowly across the course of an hour. So please don't take me too. It wasn't too bad. It was just basically I finished work and came straight in and had no time to separate the two.
We've all been there.
I am sure that Bethan, deep in her heart, would love it. Would love 1 or 2 good runs out with Celtic Challenge. I mean, she loves development. She loves Wales. Why not? Right.
So there must be plenty of Welsh sort of second or third choice Welsh players who live in PWR who you could get.
So while we're on
that's saying Sean Lynn starts. He does say he wants to see the Celtic Challenge be made more of a thing.
Another thing we love that he said.
On that, so the WRU came out in writing in that PDF saying that they wanted their teams to be winning the Celtic Challenge. That's not currently happening. But there seems to be a disagreement amongst the Celtic conspiracy about what the Celtic Challenge is actually for. So is it a development tournament, as we were told, or is it elite rugby?
That's a really good question, honestly. And I feel like it's not...
Can I come in and do the World Rugby answer? It is an elite development tournament.
All right.
So
Ah!
basically,
right.
it's a.
All right. Oh, I didn't know Bill Beaumont was back.
Yeah. God,
Yeah,
I'd love to have the size on Beaumont. That'd be great in the pack. Yeah. So I think the problem is Edinburgh and Glasgow are using it fairly. That I think the thing is that Edinburgh and Glasgow have quite an elite development pathway anyway. I
Yeah,
think it's
Scotland's
head and
pathway
shoulders
seems
above
to be
us.
very good from the
Yeah.
outside.
I
Yeah,
mean,
you know, they've got a
actually,
very good thing, but
they're getting
they
their shit
don't
in
have
order,
many
basically.
veterans.
Scotland is getting their shit in order. We should
Yeah.
not. We do need. So Scotland is important to me because Scotland is what Wales could be if they try.
100%.
Scotland also was not doing that well like 3 or 4 years ago. I've said it before. It sucks what happened that made it go this way. No other rugby union should ever, ever, ever have to have a tragedy like that that lights a fire, but it lit a fire.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, but I said, finish my point. A lot of the elite Scottish players are all playing PWR similar to Wales, but then they're successfully getting their Celtic Challenge players to a level where they can be brought straight into so they were actually bringing through. I think that development didn't happen too as much last year with under the previous management. We had a couple. We had Sean Jones come through and Alu Purse towards the end, but mostly it was the same old faces getting us through. Whereas Scotland bloody nothing more. Ireland, because they basically didn't want any of their players playing in the BWR. They want them to be Ireland based so that they can pull them in for training. Very similar to their men's setup. They've got no other place to play their elite players, so you have to have the likes of Aoife Waith and Erin King playing against development teams, which is, I don't know if it necessarily is a bad thing. I mean, it clearly based on the last season, it worked, but I think that's where we got the disconnect now. World Rugby set it up as basically to develop and get a league set up. I think so. They sort of said it as development, but I think it was almost to develop it to an elite level. I think Ireland are probably there in terms of that elite setup. Scotland are there as an elite development, and I think it wouldn't take too much for them to start bringing some of their big names home. Wales, I think, have still got quite a long way to go because I don't think of the three, I think we have the least underneath.
Definitely.
Whereas, like you've got the equivalent of the AIL. There's a women's All Ireland League. Okay, very similar, so that's there. So they've got that obvious step up. Scotland have got a very obvious women's premiership. Like the next level of Welsh women's rugby in Wales is a league where there's been more cancelled fixtures than played.
Yeah, which
is actually a point for in the pod. David at Scrum the Earth wanted us to address. I haven't got the stats. I've sort of only remembered recently, but that's not a healthy jump up. So when the Celtic Challenge finishes, where are all these players going to get more rugby? Because this is only a 10-week block. Well, 11-week
David, I got the league for you.
Well, and shout out our buddy Kirsten if you are listening. Often she plays at Seven Sisters right now. Is studying in Wales and has been giving us almost week by week about how many cancellations there are. And also asked us if we could cover that. So once we do more research, we're absolutely going to. We do that.
Yeah, but there's the league. Fantar are currently top. So
unsurprisingly,
as always.
Unsurprisingly.
So on that then, let's talk about Brit on Thunder. So obviously as a Brit on Thunder fan, I've been keeping an eye on them, watching their games, talking about them on the Scarlets pod. The last couple of weeks have been tough. Now, back-to-back fixtures against the Wolfhounds ain't easy. They're a great team. But there's not been tons to be excited about. The centres have been really good. We've got international centres, so you'd expect those to be good, and they have really stood out. The scrum has been decent. Eleanor Hing, #Hing on the wing, has been good, probably up there with the best players, and Hannah Marshall has looked good in attack as well. But some very tough to take score lines. I think we've failed to score a single point in the majority of the halves that we've played. I think we've only actually scored. We were 1-0 half against Edinburgh, 3-0 halves against Wolfhounds, and I think 3 against Gwalior as well. So we're not scoring many points, and when we do score points, it's through the centres. it's kind of tough to watch at the moment. And what should we do? Because it's our club and we support them. And the Scarlets have gotten really behind Brit Thunder. They're putting out all over the socials. All the Scarlets coaches have been going to see them. The Scarlets management have been talking about them. So that's great to see. It's just the actual rugby on the pitch has been disappointing, and fair to say that some of the play has been below what you would
Bad.
expect. So I don't know. You guys. I've spoken about it a bit in the past. So I want to hear your guys' take on the Thunder.
Well, you got mine, so
The Thunder. So the match at Park and Cartlets, Thunder could have won that game. I can't remember what the halftime score was, but it was a pretty close
It
game.
was 0-0.
Oh, there you go then. I thought it was like 3-0 or something.
Well,
Anyway,
it might have been 0-3.
it was 3-0. It was 3-0.
there you
There
go.
was a penalty.
Yeah,
there
it
was
was-
a penalty kick in the first half.
It was funny. Both me and my sister were like, kind of, I'm not sure if I'm enjoying this game. It was kind of like,
Do
it was
we
a
like
very,
this?
it's like, why are we here? Like, but like it was.
This could
I
have been an
actually
email.
Why are we in Ashley on a weekend in
Why
between
don't we
Christmas?
pull Ashley?
No, it was a vet, but I was impressed actually with how there wasn't much to be impressed with, to be honest, because the standard wasn't great, but I was impressed with how physical the game was. It was incredibly physical, but I don't know, I never really thought that Gwalia were going to lose it somehow. I don't know if it was an experience thing or what, but I don't know, there was something a bit lacking. I think they've probably got a few too many young players who are just not quite ready yet. That's how it feels.
That's how it feels for both teams, honestly.
Well,
like
I think it's the same for Gwalia as well, of course, but I don't.
yeah,
I think it's
less
I think
so.
they think they've got one or two players in there who are just that, like you, Gwen Hopkins and Allow, who are just kind of and Bryony King, to be fair, who can bring up players a little bit. Yeah, it's tough. I feel for them. It is tough.
It just feels like that the Celtic Challenge sides in Wales, like in Ireland and Scotland, it feels like they're a part of a bigger system. Whereas in Wales, it does feel like oh crap, in 2
separate.
weeks we've got this. And that's kind of how the whole build up to it felt.
Yeah.
And it feels like, Mart was asking on the Scarlet Spot, where are these girls playing when
Exactly.
they're not
During
with
the
Thunder?
week.
Exactly.
And the answer is so modeled. And the range is, I feel, telling, because the answer is some of them are playing at Gloucester Hartpury, some of them are playing at Hartpury Uni, and then some of them are playing in the I don't know if any are actually I don't know if any are playing in the championship in Wales. But it's ranging from PWR down to like not.
They did an open trial. They did. I
Do an
can't
open
remember
trial.
when. Was it September? But
Yeah,
they did that open
they've
trial,
done
did
open
they?
trials for
Which,
both years so
and I
far.
think so. I think some players were literally had very
Awful
little
straight,
experience.
15 of the 30 players were new to the Celtic Challenge in the
Exactly,
press
and-
release. So half the squad's new. A lot of them
That's
come up
quite a
from the
lot.
under 20s, like what's her face? The Hannah Marshall,
Yes.
the one who we hasn't
She's-
quite grown into a jersey yet. Is probably the kindest way to put it, but
I don't know. She's
Yeah, I think she's only 19, I think, isn't she?
I was gonna say
Yeah.
she's also super young. I'm not too worried. What I really liked about Hannah is that she does seem to be like actively growing that rugby IQ and actively growing the running the back line, which is great, because I would humbly posit that that's not necessarily always what Wales has at the senior level.
What I like about Hannah Marshall is she tries things. They might not always work. Like, I think, at the level that she's playing, it might not work out, and that's part of her development. But my God, we
Yes.
don't have many players who can create stuff like she
But
can,
that's what I mean,
and she
is that-
can.
is that- yeah, and knowing when to create and knowing when to be brave, and obviously part that comes with youth and experiences, sometimes you try stuff when you really shouldn't have tried anything, when maybe you should have just gone standard. Okay, but if you're going to do those experiments, in my opinion, I would do it in Celtic Challenge before you get up to PWR, or before you get
Oh
up
yeah,
to
totally. Yeah.
right. And I think that that's smart, and I think that that's mature. But at the same time, like, that is also important to note when we are talking about the Celtic Challenge, other than the Irish teams, is that we are mostly talking about like 19 to 22-year-olds.
Yeah, exactly.
Who have had very widely varying experiences and knowledge up to it. And I we don't need to go off on it. Other smarter people have already about the disparity between the Irish teams. And I'm not going to complain either. It's not worth it. But honestly, yes, both of the Irish teams have had like a quarter of each team, both Wolfhounds and Clovers, that have like been to the Olympics. That's not the same.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
One thing I do want to add with this squad, obviously, so we mentioned Alu Purs, Molly Reardon, and Gwen Hopkins, Brian and King. You can get a decent spine in your pack there.
Yeah.
And they're all potential leadership candidates.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Brithon have Natalia John.
Yeah, that's the other
basically
factor.
in terms of pack, which is where I think
has
is where
seniority, but
it's
yeah,
that's why I'm making it.
right.
It's the pack where I think this is where they're losing. Like they're basically being beaten so badly because they're not in the game because they can't establish a platform. So
Yes,
Hannah
I
Marshall
agree.
may be able to try these things, which may work with with time. Because she'll get used, centers and the wingers and the 9 will get used to what she wants to do, and you will see this young 10s will try stuff, and it doesn't work, and then a year or two later they'll try the same stuff, but it works better because the other players know what
the
you
combination.
start clicking.
Yes.
But that's never going to work if you don't have a platform.
Yes,
Because I'm a
absolutely.
Cardiff fan. I know what a Maverick 10 and no platform is like.
Thanks, Harley.
But I wish that that's what viewers of the Celtic Challenge would go into it with that internalized, because you're right. And I feel like that gives you a much better, I guess, framework to watch it from, rather than, I understand if you're not following this super closely that it might look super unbalanced, but I don't know. I don't agree. I think that we're doing the development right, basically, is what I was.
This is what I was trying to explain to Nick, one of my co-hosts on the Rap podcast, because he was asking me about, what do you expect from the two challenge teams? And I said, look, the Wolfhounds and Clovers are basically stacked with Islanders and Nationals for both codes. They are going to be far and away ahead. Then you're going to be followed by Edinburgh because they've just got such a good setup and their pathway is, just that level, elite level. It probably rivals a lot of senior men's academies in terms of the, how tight they've got everything done. And Scotland have basically gone, there's not too much point giving our current senior players contracts because they're all on better paying jobs because they're all vets, doctors, army captains, etc. Instead, what we do is we use that money and we're going to give academy contracts so that this next generation of players can be raised entirely pro. So that gives them that little bit of an edge. Wales, Glasgow, it's a bit less on that. I think they've put a lot of eggs into the Edinburgh basket. For the two Wales sides, it is almost purely developmental with a few players who are probably good enough for PWR, but probably don't get as much game time as they could because of limits on players. So we should be looking at these games and looking at how the teams perform. Can we see sparks for the future? Can we see Hannah Marshall? Great, she's trying stuff. She's seeing things in the game. They're not coming off because we haven't got X, Y, Z. We're seeing Molly Reardon continuing her development in that transition from scrum half to hooker. Her line that's getting better, her scrummaging's getting a bit better. We can see that Ali Purse is becoming more of a force on the field and more imposing. Gwen Hopkins is just amazing. She just is. But we're seeing this, and you can see the green shoots. That's how you've got to watch this tournament as a Welsh fan. It does help that you can see Aoife Wafer scoring screamers. Because who doesn't want to see Aoife Wafer scoring screamers? And Ainley Murphy Crowe with a name who can score a try faster than you can say her name. It's that's how you've got to look at these things.
Absolutely. I do. What I don't want to happen is just like it feels a little bit like they've thrown some of the players into the deep end a little bit, and it's kind of like you don't want to. It's getting that balance between. It's not so much you don't want to put the kids in because I think it is a really good way of developing the players. But I don't know. I think for some of them it may be that just too much without enough support.
Losing 50-0 to the Wolfhounds is not doing tons for your development, I don't think.
That's exactly my point.
People put lipstick on a pig in rugby a lot with this. Every time a team gets honked by 50, they go, "Oh, it's good for their development." I'm like, no, it isn't. Shut up.
It's not. And And when various organizations or news people ask young players if they feel that that is doing anything for them, I know that in the past, jumping back to PBR very quickly, just because there's a very good piece of that there, when they talk to the Sharks about just getting beat to shit by everybody, none of them, I mean, several have been asked and they're like, I mean, I don't think it's the best. We're doing what we can, but we understand where we're coming from. And with the Celtic Challenge, I don't know, personally, I don't even want to put teams in a position to have to say that. But but it's all because of this elephant in the room that we're not even, because we can't solve this for ourselves. But currently it is not. I'm going to say fair. I'm going to say fair because there's no better word. It's currently not equal.
No, I think if the WRU came out with a proper strategy about this, where they envision the strategy for women's rugby, for the grassroots, for that pathway, if they turned around and were like, yeah, we want to have 2 elite teams, whether they're, you know, Lightning and Thunder, whatever, I think I'd be happier if they just had that more of a plan rather than right now where it just feels like check the kids in. I think that's the
it's going back to the point that's been raised 2-3 times already in just this pod, and we've mentioned it on other podcasts, we've mentioned it on this podcast and other episodes. We don't know where Celtic Challenge fits. We can sort of see where it fits under PWR at the moment because we have some players who come back and forth.
Sure,
we don't know how it connects to the lower level.
Exactly.
And until we've got that lower level, these young kids, is it a case of, well, because it's put in the middle of the women, it's in the mid game season.
Do they feel that this is a stepping stone to PWR, or what do they feel this is a stepping stone towards? They should feel that they are going towards something. That's what motivates people.
Yeah.
It's what motivates academy players. Like, you will reach this level. Not necessarily that. Well, that's the problem with Wales, is that you can't say, and then you can stay in Wales and play in our amazing Premiership. There isn't one, but
no, if you do really well, we'll pay you to play in England.
Exactly. No, if you do really well, we'll let England pay you. That's not a message.
Yeah. Speaking of that, then let's talk about the PWR.
Let's.
So we are now 12/13/11 games into the PWR season. I've watched more of this season than I have any other season, and some of the games have just absolutely blown me away in terms of the quality, in terms of the speed.
Good. Absolutely.
It's good. A really great watch at times.
And as you can see from here, it's competitive. It's different teams.
It's super competitive. Super competitive. So
just blank out the bottom 2 rows.
Apart from the bottom 2. The rest
but even Leicester played well against Quins at times.
Yeah. But those 2 teams match. And by the way, Tigers, okay, Sean, we just watched a match together where the Tigers held up against the Bears.
Yeah, the Tigers did do well against the Bears. They did, yeah. I don't think the score. We called the scoreline. Do you remember?
Yeah, I think it was Tigers, very close too. It was very close to what we called.
Like, wasn't it the weekend before they lost like 100-0 or something? Something stupid. And we said it was that
very even.
But we said that Bears would win by like it would be like a 40-20 or something.
Exactly.
So, yeah. But it was closer than it looked, if that makes sense.
So sticking to kind of the Welsh point of view, so we've spoken about Gloucester, got loads of great players, but let's talk about Harlequins for a bit, or Quins, CWINS as we now call them.
London Quins.
What was that? What was that?
They've been an exciting team to watch this season, and they've got a great roster as well.
Yeah, so obviously we mentioned Kaylee Powell. I'm going on about Kaylee Powell all the time, but she is playing incredibly well for Quins, and I think we're
also a Kaylee Powell fan club.
We are. Like, I think she has been really central to a lot of what's been all the good stuff that Quins have been playing. Lisa Neumann's been playing really well on the wing. Abby Fleming has been. Abby Fleming is one of those players that won't get mentioned.
I was going to say she plays quiet.
Yeah, she's not a flashy player, but my God, she's the kind of player that does all that hard work. And when she's not there, you notice. I think she is really key to Wales. Really key to Wales. Who else? Who else? Alcal.
Yeah, no, the real queen of Quins.
The Queen of Wales.
The
Queen of
Quinn.
Quins. Yeah, I mean,
And by
I mean,
the way,
I'm biased, but I'm convinced that part of why they're doing so well is Arcal. I'm convinced
But-
of it.
but what I credit that I would love to give Harlequins is that they are leaning into it hard, and I love that. No club that she
Yeah.
has played at has given her so much
They are
spotlight
loving it.
as Quins.
Yes.
Quins love it. First of all, their fans are insane for Alcal, which I love because I'm like,
Yeah.
welcome.
Particularly when you
also,
think they've got Ellie Kildun as well.
exactly.
They could have easily just be going, and
Who, by
Ellie
the
is
way,
scoring a million tries all the time.
we have clowned on Ellie a lot. Hi, Ellie. I know sometimes you watch.
Hi, Ellie. We know you're watching.
Once in a while, but no, I'm about to love on Ellie a little bit. Ellie
She
has
has been
also talked about it. No, she has also talked about how much she loves playing Nesta.
Yeah.
And we only clown because we respect your game so much and because we hate that you play for the Red Roses.
And because Jazz Joyce is better than you, but you know.
And because Jess Joyce is better than you. Oh no. We would like to see you two race though, if you are listening.
Yeah, that would be great.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
If
So
it's
that's,
a draw,
that's
if there's ever a draw between Bristol and Quins, can it just be a foot race between the two of you? That's how we
Exactly.
settle it. I think that'd be
It would be
great.
super fun. And you
That
know
would be
what?
fun.
More likely to happen than the one that I've been demanding. And by the way, I'm a Bears super fan. It's crazy they don't listen to me already. But I've been asking to see the race between Alona and Jazz, and no one's listening to me. I don't know why.
I would like
Alona's
to see
like
him do a
Jazz
tackle
already
run relay,
humiliated me
personally.
once on
Alona,
a
no,
rugby
Alona's
field.
like Jazz who?
I think we know who'd win that.
Jazz, who sat me on my butt in the
No,
Olympics.
No, you know what? Okay. We clown on this person too, but I will say I actually don't think that would happen because one of my absolute favorite Alona pieces is one where she's on a hike with her mom in the woods, and the framing is that her mom has asked her if she could beat Portia Woodman Wycliffe in a race, and
Oh, yeah,
Alona
that was
laughs,
funny.
and Alona laughs. She's, no, so I
That
think
was funny.
I clown, but only because we share the same accent, and you know that I don't mean that.
Okay, let's talk about Bears then.
Let's talk about
before we go,
Bears.
I just
Let's
want to add something on to the Quins because everyone's saying how exciting they are. Quins have always been exciting. That is to
Yeah,
bring
they
up
have.
We agree.
They
We
have,
agree.
vomiting
yeah.
cliche
PWR
is
didn't.
the vomiting cliche of their DNA. What
It's
and this
champion
is where
DNA.
I think you're right. Alcal has what might say is
I
the thing that's improved so much for them this season is their defense, and defensively they've become hard to break down. And
Hard
I
to
think
score on.
and having players like Abby Fleming and Alcal
Yeah.
who are just
Defensive
absolute lovers
machines.
of punishment. That I think for me is the thing that's bringing them back into that top four. When it used to be that all they needed to do was score really fancy tries, but now everyone else's attacks come up.
Yeah.
So now they've had to sort of work on the defensive side. But that's saying, yeah, now we can talk about the best team in the PWR, even if they are fifth in the
Yeah.
table.
The
They are
best. I was
fifth out
gonna
of
say
nine.
the best team in the middle of the table.
Yeah, so Bristol Bears then. So I was aware of how
Oh, I
Bristol
thought you were gonna
Bears
say
played
that
the
you would die
game.
for these Bears.
Yeah, I would die for them.
I will fucking die for these Bears.
So I
have
was
died for these Bears.
language, Timothy.
I will I will say that I was aware of how Bristol Bears play the game before I really watched them properly. And now I have watched them properly, I feel qualified to say I hate it.
Yeah, we
I
hear that.
can't-
We hear that a lot.
I can't stand watching
We hear that a
Bristol
lot.
Bears.
Why is this, Hugh?
So
Why is
Julia,
this?
for the sake of the listeners and the
I
viewers,
know why.
explain Bristol Bears game plan.
Listen.
Run it.
When
Run
you
everything.
listen, when you have the best pack in the PWR. Okay. So the Bears right now have a very unique game plan. And even super fans, I consider myself one, do not consider this necessarily a good plan. And as time goes on, I consider it less and less a good plan. I understand where they were going. They have a very innovative attack coach, which I appreciate. What up, Tom Luke? I appreciate it. However, sorry, I'll cut to the chase. Bears don't kick. There is basically a team rule that in open play you won't kick. Which I now understand as time goes on and as they've recruited more. I understood it back before they got several people that they have now. I think when you have the likes of Kira Bevan, when you have the likes of Holly Aitchison, I think it's foolish not to kick.
Holly Aitchison's kicking for touch is phenomenal.
It's fantastic. She's a great kicker. Holly, we only got with Hannah Botterman. We only got her one season ago. I think this is her second Bears season. Which is great.
I think-
but Yeah,
Holly can blow a bit hot and cold. So I'm a huge fan of Holly. I think she's awesome. Ever since I saw her in the flesh for the first time at CAP a couple of years ago, and I was like, oh my God,
the
she
real
is
deal, man.
when you see her, she has so much time with the ball, all that kind of stuff. She's really good, but she can be a bit hot and cold with the
Sure.
kick in.
That's true,
But I
and
guess,
that is true. That is true, but I also feel when I look at the people that I consider the best open play kickers in the PWR, I don't know. I'm not sure that I can think of too many that are amazing. I think that it is something that I've both seen people talk about and that I feel myself. I feel like open play kicking is a weakness in the women's game.
I agree.
I don't think that it denigrates the women's game to say that. I think that it can only improve it because everybody listens to each other, and we're not the first people to say this in any
I
way.
would say the kicking has improved immensely over the last 5 years. Like, it's not even comparable. So I would expect that in the next couple of years to continue that trajectory.
Exactly. And I was going to say, so it would be fair a bit to shy away from that. Bears specifically have internalized that to a point that a lot of people, when they watch, and Hugh can actually speak to this very well, that when you watch, there are several moments where you're just like, why not? Why not? Because I would. And I'm a consummate front rower when I'm just like, if I had the ball right now, I'd at least try. I've never kicked a ball in open play in my life. But no, every rugby fan knows that there is a point once in a while, even the most kick-averse person is like, I really would.
I do think it's interesting that Bristol men are like this as well. I don't know whether there's some kind of conspiracy going on here.
No, unfortunately. Interestingly, though, Dave Ward and Pat Lam are incredibly close. They talk very often. It's kind of a Bears point of pride. They share facilities, they share game plans, and they share strategy meetings.
So I was watching the game when they played against Gloucester, and in the first half they were trying to run out of their own 22, and they were just going back and back and back till they were playing on their own 5 meter. And I was like, please God, kick the ball. And they just wouldn't do it. They just wouldn't do it. And they played for like a million phases in their own 22. But to be fair, they kept the ball, they retained the ball. But I guess Gloucester were like, let's just keep them here.
Gloucester didn't care, did they?
But then the really annoying thing was that they won a penalty and then they got further down the pitch. And I was like, how did this stupid game plan work?
I do think that is, I mean, you're absolutely right. And I do think that is why it has lived as long as it has. And I do think that it is born in part of and this is very much a patented Dave Ward mentality, but the Dave Ward mentality of we have the best pack in the PWR. And I do agree that we do. I do.
Don't they win more scrum penalties than any other team, isn't it?
It's the winningest scrum penalty team, yes. We are also the most scrum dominant, and also either 1 or 2, I mean, this is separate from that, but 1 or 2 for line out wins as well, line out to maul to try. It's things that work. It is, to fans of other teams, it is reminiscent of the Red Roses. So I mean, I guess I can see the draw. I think we saw this in Tigers, by the way, which was the most recent match this past weekend. It does seem like that dam is breaking. It's even seemed in kind of coy ways that some of the players have been speaking that maybe that gate is going to open a little bit. I hope. I think we're past the point where you can be the strongest and most dominant pack and expect to win that way.
Oh my God, I found the PWR stats page.
Wow.
Now, how accurate is it?
Whilst Hugh nerds on that, I just want to say his little rant there, which obviously he said to me live whilst we were watching the game, reminded me very similar of another rant he had about a year previously when me and him went to a Cardiff Scarlets game, and he was fuming that Scarlets won because they shouldn't have won because they played stupid.
They did play stupid. We don't play stupid anymore. We kick the ball now.
As an engineer, Hugh fucking hates it when somebody wins when the math didn't work.
Yeah, exactly. The maths wasn't mathing.
I figured you out.
So look, see, look. Here's the PWR stats. Well, I didn't know this existed. I'm very excited. So yeah, possession of the game. Visits to the 22s. Bears had 7, Gloucester 14. But what that doesn't tell you is they just lived down there. They're just completely. I'm exploring this website in real time, guys. I've never looked at it before. It's so exciting. It's one of these stupid bar graph ones. I hate that. But
Look at the possession though. If you go back up to the top, that actually does right at the top. That actually does surprise me a little bit. In my head, I didn't remember it like that.
yeah, because Bears had because look at the territory. So Bears had 59% possession, but 45% territory because they just had it in their own half and refused to kick it.
This is where I'd love the rugby pass territory map and possession map, so they sort of show.
Oh, I had it open. I've closed it. Hang on, I'll bring it back open.
That's one of my that's one of my favorite ones to look at. Sorry, that's me and Hugh having a mild stats nerd up there, but I love it because then you sort of go, well, look how much of the game was played here. No wonder this happened, sort of thing. But that's right. Yeah, Bears is thing, but I kind of like it because it's I don't have that much vested interest in the Welsh players. As long as they're having good games, I'm happy. So it's quite good.
Yeah,
I want brutal efficiency. I'd watch lessons.
Against Gloucester, it was a bit annoying. You're kind of just like, ah.
Yeah. Okay, got it. Right. So here's what it looks like. Now, probably pass isn't perfect, but here's what it looks like. So there's the territory or possession maps. So you can see Bears had 54% of their possession in their own half.
That was such a good game. Do you know what? I think Bears tried to lose this game.
Yes.
Oh no, this is the wrong game. Sorry, this is against Exeter. My bad.
I was wondering, but I assumed.
This is last week.
Yeah, this is the extra game, but
yeah. All right, so that brings okay. So that's a good segue.
But I think
well done, me. Good segue. So the Exeter game was the first start for one Ilona Maher, and she had not the best debut against Costa. Came on quite late on, didn't technically touch the ball, but the game against Exeter. Very much an announcement of an arrival, and people got very excited. What a try meters made. Hang on, I'll bring it up again in a second.
The meters made was really good.
Yeah,
I think she topped the weekend for PWR.
I think it was like
she did. I think
her
stats were really good.
Wasn't it 155?
Yeah, all her stats were really good.
Yeah, they were.
So meters carried. Ilona Maher.
170. Sorry.
Look at the difference though.
Yeah,
like 170 and then Saka.
Tripled.
That's nuts. I think the only.
I think one big segment of that was her 75-ish meter run.
Yeah, line breaks.
Yeah,
line breaks 4. Defenders beaten 12.
Yep,
that's a lot.
That is a
lot. I mean, when you can sit someone down and she can, and it's super reliable. And that's why actually, and I won't go off on a tangent, but that is why I think it's actually, I'm happy with them having her on the
interesting at tackle stats, because I remember putting in at least one decent shot.
Her tackle stats were the only slightly, how do I put it? Not quite so good.
Less impressive. Less impressive.
Yeah, less impressive.
Less impressive, just because less impressive stats are less impressive for a winger. I was gonna say, I feel like you always have a.
Holly, I'm not going to bring the stats up. The stats weren't great.
I mean, also less impressive except for when you consider that she is usually used to. And I was watching some of her old interviews, for grabbing some clips, and in fact, well before she came to PWR, it was something like an 11 or 12-month-old clip. She said straight up that she thinks 7s is faster and 15s is more physical. 15s, one of the things that she is intimidated most by is that there are like a million people on the pitch, which made me laugh. But to a 7s player, it does feel like there are a million people on the pitch, and that's not something to sneeze at. It's easy.
Tackles missed, isn't it?
Exactly. Whatever, but if you look at tackles missed, most PWR players every weekend have a few.
So the thing that got a lot of excitement was her try where she smashed through about 4 people. It was a great try. And ran. But I thought her try assist was the best one for me.
That was an assist? Are we sticking with assist?
Yeah, it was an assist.
She was just being
she passed the ball to someone who scored a try.
Okay.
It was more
than an offload. It was a pass.
It's the same reason why Cam Winner has the most try assists in the URC.
Okay.
Because that final pass counts as an assist now.
I'll give that then.
Okay. But it was
even if it's not necessarily
she drew 4 defenders.
Yes.
She did.
No,
You're
I
right.
think she
Okay,
did really
you're right.
well. Okay,
You're
yeah.
right. Oh
I'm
no,
not
you're
a massive
absolutely.
fan of this assist thing. Okay, I'm old
I
fashioned.
feel
It's a thing.
exactly. That's the thing, is that I'm harsh on assists. I'm not harsh on Alona. No, I mean, what?
Try assist deniers. They exist.
Oh, they exist. There are dozens of us.
I-
It's just me
I-
and Sean.
It used to be a try, score, and pass in my day. Just saying.
It's
That's
the
just what you
same
call it.
thing.
Yeah, I
Your sister
know.
did try-
And
I cannot believe I'm becoming an old man about rugby, but only when Sean says it.
Yeah, but like if there's two passes, then try like that first pass might be the key pass, so that could be the assist. Yeah,
That's a different
but
stat.
let's not go. Let's not go into that.
We're gonna call you try assist apologists.
No, I'm just going.
We're gonna talk to Opta
If
about
anything,
try
I'm try
involvement.
assist agnostic.
Okay. Actually, that works the best.
Yeah.
Fair enough. No, overall,
I just want to. I want to be a
please.
little bit of a defender of her first game because
Please.
as Hugh has converted me onto this thought, wingers as subs makes no sense unless it's an injury because they had no material impact on the game, and that was a game Bristol had already lost. So you couldn't really expect her to do much.
yeah, that's fair.
Is my thing.
That is a
However,
fair point.
she did massively drop the ball, figuratively and
She
literally on
did.
one,
She
one loose
also-
ball.
She also
But-
immediately entered the field and high tackled Tatiana Hurd. It just happened. It's fine. You're getting used to it. Whatever. Then she came to Exeter and threw down. So
But in all fairness, I mean, I've seen far more egregious things.
I was
going
gonna
to
say, I've seen-
that gets on the World Rugby feed as look at this great hit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yes. And it's one of the few sets of arguments that I just didn't even dive into because I really don't care. But oh my God, I saw some arguments about what does and doesn't constitute high tackling in women's rugby. By a lot of people who have never played women's rugby due to not being women, is what I'll say.
If anyone's
A lot of
watching
people who
on the feed,
A lot of people who have
innocent,
never
yeah.
had
here,
a lot of
Stand up.
people who have never had tits talking about it is all I'm gonna say. So it's a little bit harder when it's harder to grab. It's fine. Fine.
admittedly, I haven't considered the possibility as if they fly up into the air and you hit them, if that counts. I mean, I would just go on the shoulder line, which is what the
It's
World
harder
Rugby
to
rules
grab,
are now.
man. Slips off. If you got big naturals.
Okay, moving on.
I've played against some men like that.
Exactly. I was gonna say and the best men's front rows do too.
So and then in her third game, she got smashed in the face.
Got smashed.
Was it by a Canadian who said,
No.
"Oh, I'm really sorry about that, eh?"
Nope. No,
Oh.
unfortunately, it was by an English. The story behind the nose, for anybody who's wondering, unfortunately, was friendly fire. She went for
It
a
happens.
tackle, and so did Millie David, and Millie David's shoulder contacted her face.
It can
Yeah, she
happen.
didn't have. She had a quieter game, didn't she?
Quieter.
Against Tigers.
Yeah.
Not the
Yeah.
wrong thing.
It happens.
And in fairness, for that particular game and the style that Tigers play and how you play against them, it really wasn't a comment for or against her play. It was that generally you don't need to get it out there.
I don't know. Tigers were really up for it though, weren't they? Like we were saying
They
earlier, how
were.
they lost by 100-0 the game before, and then they were like, it was almost as if they were kind of like, right, we can't let this happen.
And for all we say, for and against or for and about Alona's participation, I do firmly believe that some teams are really jazzed up by that. We saw
Absolutely.
it with Exeter. Exeter happens to also be very, very strong and happens to already have Claudia McDonald, who in that same interview that I cited that I really liked from Alona, she said that her favorite PWR back was Claudia McDonald, which I loved. But in that same interview, she said that the most savage player in the PWR was Meg Jones. And I do believe that Meg Jones is a very strong leader for the Tigers, and I am very confident that in the locker room before they came out, Meg Jones said fucking smash her. And
I agree, 100%.
and they did.
Yep.
And they did.
There is also the tactical thing of her swapping wings, which
Right.
as we were talking off air,
And you pointed that out. I didn't even notice. I didn't even
One
notice.
thing I
but you
did
could be
notice
absolutely
in
right.
it was either the Millie David try or the disallowed try. I can't remember. But there's a thing, and there's a ruck, and the forwards are a bit slow getting there, and she hits that ruck and secures the ball. So just because she wasn't flashy on show, it did show she's been. It still says to me that she's more of a second row than a winger. She's a very quick second row, if you ask me. I
She did
reckon
that
she'd
when-
be an absolute
Everybody
stormer.
would
She
love that.
committed full time.
She did that on and when she came on as a sub in her first game. It was, I think, one of
Yes.
the first things she did. She was smashing in. Like
Yes.
I've got no. She's gonna get in there. Like she's not. She's gonna be effective there. I think you're right. Maybe she is more of a.
I am a rare forward, even more rare front row that I do not believe that intrinsically anybody who is good at rucking should be a forward. I think that it is okay if you are good at rucking as a back. I would love it, and I've been thinking about my college career a lot. I would have loved it if we had a single.
You
fucking
see
back who
Jazz
could ruck.
Joyce doing it. You see Jazz Joyce doing it.
You
is
do, but
not
you know what?
afraid of like getting
Okay,
stuck
but
in.
I completely agree. And so you take that, and let's imagine that Jazz Joyce and Alona Mar didn't play on the same game, or didn't play on the same team, rather. I'm going to say it right now. I think that if they were rucking against each other, I think Alona would clear her out.
Oh yeah.
I think
There's a
that,
physics
Oh, yeah.
I think her technique is actually really good.
I think her technique is quite
Yeah.
good. And I think that that's not necessarily something that you should look at and be like, now we're going to completely manipulate the rest of her gameplay and turn her into, and I don't know about second row. I was thinking about that for her height, but oh my God, what a waste of the rest of her talents. I see.
Tell Leonie
I s-
Nakarawa.
Thank you. I was about to go for this one.
Yes.
I see the merit.
Archie Snyman.
I see the merit of some people being like a loose forward. Okay, sure. On Bears, I don't see it because of the forwards that the Bears have. But in general, still though, if I were Dave Ward and I were feeling like I wanted to switch her at all, I hate to be boring, but I think I would do the one that everybody says, and I think I would do center.
Yeah.
Why not let her do both things she's good at?
It's a very
see it
different
in the
scenario though. Like with her running on the wing
Alona, do
where
you
she's-
have a Welsh gran?
where she's when she smashed through
Alona, do you want to play 12 for Wales?
when
Can
she
you
smashed through
imagine?
that player against
Oh my
Exeter
God, I wish.
on the wing, it was kind of like in space you can do that. Whereas if she was playing 12, she'd be running up against two people, and like
Yeah.
just from a psychological point of view, that's a different
think-
thing because
and I
you're
think-
Defensively
trying
as well.
to take contact there. You're not trying
And
to
I
get
think that that's the
through someone
psychology between
necessarily.
keeping her in the back three. It's also important to remember that yes, she's an amazing rugby player. She's very physical. She's a large person who is also fast. All of that is true. However, the past several years she has been playing sevens. Why not exploit that? And I do feel that that's what Bears did. And I feel that it's the same thing that they try to do with Jazz. And honestly, recently I feel like they're doing better with Alona than they do with Jazz. But that's a different conversation. That said, I think exploiting the most skills in one position is either wing or center. Probably wing. Why not give her
Anyway.
a channel?
I just like
Yeah.
Tarty. I like Tarty back so much. I want them in my forwards.
Alona, we love you on the wing. We
What,
wouldn't
like
mind
Thomas
you in the
Young?
centers.
Right, let's finish the
No,
podcast
Thomas
with
Young.
this.
Let's.
Yay!
Yes.
What
then
what
we're gonna
were they
get- and then-
thinking?
And then we're gonna get friend of the pod, Leslie. What up, Leslie? Friend of the pod, Leslie. We're gonna need you to edit this, and we need the little girl's face to be Alona Mar.
I don't see that as being possible. There we go.
Oh God.
God.
So that little girl is all of us, and then that lady is Abby Tierney, and then we should. The next picture should
You
be.
couldn't make this up, could you?
I
Like,
know. I know. So because I am sure lots of people don't know what we're referencing. This is a set of photos from I actually don't know if we covered it on the pod, but set of photos from a flooded pitch for one of the
It was
community
Cross
teams.
Keys.
It was
in
Cross
Cross
Keys. Thank
Keys.
you. Thank
Yep.
you. It was Cross Keys. Alicia Butchers would be disgusted. It was Cross Keys. It flooded, and they came to Miss Abby. Please, Miss Abby. Please, Miss Abby, give me some money. And we got Oliver Twistet, or Olivia Twistet, who was just a muddy small child, and they did that for the photo op. Go back, please. And this is a woman
They
begging her to
posted
fix.
4 photos from the
They
visit,
posted a
and
4
this
photo
was one
set.
of them.
And one of them is a muddy child.
It's
Bearing
the
in
way
mind,
they're all
bearing-
inside looking out at her.
bear in
all
mind, this
inside.
isn't that much longer, like since the scandal as well with women's rugby. Like this
I think it
wasn't
was
that
like a week later. Okay, so that brings us nicely to the end of the podcast then. So let's just hope that by the time we have the next podcast, there's not been something else crazy. We'll probably do one as a preview of the Six Nations, I guess.
Yeah, I
We
think that's a good stuff.
Because definitely with Sean Lynn coming in, it's going to be super interesting to see selection. And I think there's probably a lot to pontificate about. Especially when we see I am personally curious. There are a few people that we can predict for sure that will be brought up from Celtic Challenge, but I'm betting there are a few that we aren't expecting. And I'm really interested to see who.
We can hopefully do hopefully by then the Celtic Challenge and PWR should have wrapped up as well. So.
Yeah. Cool. So we'll do that then. So thank you to my wonderful co-hosts, and I hope everybody enjoys all of their women's rugby, and I hope everybody's team wins. Cheers.
That was WRU, the Welsh Women's Rugby Appreciation Podcast. Please rate, review and share us on socials if you can, and join us again next week for more of the same. Until then, enjoy your rugby.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.